Okay, friend, question for you. If you found $100 bill just laying on the ground, what would you do? If we haven't met before, my name is Kendall, and I'm all about doing real life together. And part of real life is telling you about my experiences. And I had a pretty interesting experience on this exact spot last week. If you'd watched the video, we just finished talking, and I had turned off the video when I looked down at the ground and I saw a $100 bill just laying there. And my first thought was, snap, grab it quick before it goes through the grate that it was sitting on, because then it would have been no good to anyone. And I was right, it was for real $100. And this immediately took me back to a memory from my childhood. I'm not exactly sure how old I was. It was early grade school, before 5th grade. But my dad came to pick me up early, and we had just stepped out of the attendance office, and we found a $100 bill just laying there in the middle of the hallway. And if I'm honest with myself, I was really tempted to keep it. You see, I was going for the holy grail of cool toys back then, and that was the PlayStation 2. And $100 plus what I had already saved up would have gotten me really, really close to that. Now, fortunately, my dad was there, and he reminded me that that money is not ours, and the best thing that we can do is turn it in so that somebody could find it. And so that's what we did. Funnily enough, though, no one ever ended up claiming the $100, and it got returned to us, which was really helpful because my dad had just stepped down from his job at the time, and that extra $100 helped us out a lot when we were experiencing financial hardship. And so, having seen my dad do it, I decided to make the same play. So I picked up the bill and I walked to the administration offices on the school. I was going to turn it in. After all, it wasn't my money, and I'm sure that somebody could come along and claim it. Now, after I got to the front doors, right before I went in, I had this wait a moment minute where I asked myself, hang on, is this for real? Did I really just find another $100 bill just laying around on school property? It seemed nuts. So I took a closer look at it, and I realized it was fake. It was a really convincing fake, but it was fake. There was no watermark. It did not have that nylon or plastic blue lining to it. It was just photocopied. And even before I finished examining it, a young woman came up to me and asked, had I seen a $100 bill? And I said yes, and pointed out to her I thought it was fake. And she said, are you for real? Because I just got this as a tip at my job. So the thing that connects these two stories is integrity. It was the integrity my dad showed me by turning in the bill. It was my integrity by following in his footsteps and turning in the bill. It was the lack of integrity of the person who made the phony bill just to screw with the waitress. How would you define integrity? If you had to give it a one-sentence explanation to someone, what would you say? To me, that means who you are when no one else is around. It's who you are and how you act when no one is looking. And integrity is integral to setting your own goals. Because if you can't hold yourself accountable in other aspects, how are you going to hold yourself accountable with your own visions, your own dreams, the things that you want to accomplish? I don't know. I think they are connected. In fact, the Bible comments on this too. I found a verse from Proverbs 10:9. I paraphrase as I always do, but effectively it says, those who have integrity walk in security. So what does that mean? I think it goes beyond just the security of knowing you have nothing to hide and just not having to fear losing anything because of the way you're acting. But I think we can also gain security in ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. We just feel better when we've done the right thing. So I was trying to think what I could do to challenge you this week, what I could ask you to do, because I think it sounds really lame to just say, well, when a decision comes along, make the right decision. And on top of that too, you don't know when decisions are going to come along like that, and you don't know how you're going to behave beforehand. But is there something we can do so that we can prepare ourselves that when the hard decisions come and we have to act with integrity, we're ready for it? It's sort of like a weightlifter. Weightlifters do not walk up and deadlift 800 pounds. No, they go to the gym every single day and they do repetitions at much lower weights. They diet, they take care of their bodies. And so when it comes time to lift the 800 plus pounds, they're ready for it. And I think we can also exercise our integrity muscle. And I think that's through doing hard things. Let me explain. There's a little part of our brain that grows and shrinks based on how much we challenge it and ourselves. Little side fact here, psychologists are starting to think that the will to live also lives in this part of the brain. So the stronger it is, probably the longer you're going to live too. Of course, there's lots of other factors involved. You can't really expect just off one aspect to live a very long time. But challenging ourselves grows this part of our brain, and then it's easier to make the next challenging choice, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. And then when the decisions come along that say, I need to act with integrity, it's easy. It's easy to make the hard decision because you've trained your brain on how to make hard decisions. So hey, this isn't something that's going to change overnight. So what's one small thing you can do this week that's hard? Maybe it's something you've been putting off. Maybe it's something that you simply don't want to do or get involved in. It doesn't have to be big and grand. I mean, if you want to go for something grand, more power to you. But I find it's the little decisions that make that turns our everyday into something incredible. Don't you? Hey, I don't want to. I do want to caution you against one idea that you might run away with. In that, when it comes to integrity, we're looking for wholeness, not perfection. It's impossible for us to be perfect and to make the right decision all the time. But what Christ Jesus is inviting us into is a holistic relationship where he's starting to change us bit by little bit. And hey, I want to walk with you every step of that journey. Now, I'm going to have to go. Flex my integrity muscle again, because this time when I walked to the school to shoot this video, I found a whole laptop lying on the ground. So I got to go turn this into the school offices. Hey, before we go though, there is one thing that's going on right now, and I'd feel remiss if I didn't at least say anything. Charlie Kirk was assassinated this week. And it's very stunning and it's very surprising. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how I feel about it yet. I didn't know of Charlie Kirk too well, but I do know there's a lot of people who've had strong emotional responses to it. And maybe you've had, or you know somebody who also has. Here's the one thing that I can say to encourage you, is that if you've had a response of passion, or if you've had some response of fear or anger or sadness, is don't just sit on the emotion. Emotions are great, but emotions over time, they're going to fade. They never stick around forever. And thank goodness, because sometimes you don't want emotions to stick around forever. But what you can do is take that emotion and turn it into action. Emotion turned into action is something that's perpetual. It's something that stays. In fact, motion creates emotion. And so that you can perpetuate that feeling. If you feel the need to become an activist in order to share the gospel, if you feel that something needs to change, what are you going to do about it? Go out there and be that change. And hey, I'm backing you up every step of the way. Take care, friend.